Life is just a big strange house with people coming in and out. Study all its emptiness, or fill it with the ones you'd miss. If that house burned down.
Hello, and welcome to Journey of the Sound, a music podcast for music people. My name's Jared Rocco. I'm a musician, composer, and most importantly, a music fan. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you'll enjoy what we've got for you today. The goal of this podcast is to interview as many musicians as possible and listen to their stories about how music first came into their lives, how it affects them today, and where they hope music takes them into the future. This is Journey of the Sound. And today, I have the amazing Corry Loveday on the show.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Welcome to the show. And Corry is a pianist, a singer-songwriter, a melodica-ist, if that's a thing. And, do you play any other instruments?
No.
No?
I don't. Just those. Just anything that has keys.
Anything that has keys. Nice. You could play car keys, maybe. That could be a new instrument. I've never seen that before.
I'll try that one out.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Cool. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Corry, for those listeners who are not familiar with you or your music. Maybe where you're from and your background, how you grew up, where you grew up.
I've got an interesting background as far as music goes, at least.
Nice.
So I grew up in Troy, New York. Actually, I started out and it's already a lie. I grew up...
Already? We're not even a minute in.
I usually say Albany for people down here because that's easy. And then I say Troy. That's also a lie. I'm actually from Cropseyville, which no one's ever heard of.
Yeah,
you drive through it and it's like, welcome to Cropseyville. And like 1 minute later, leaving Cropseyville.
Is that one word, Cropseyville?
Yeah, it is.
Is that like crops, harvesting your crops, farms?
I've actually never even thought about it.
Yeah, that's what first came to my mind.
Maybe.
Cropseyville? It's like a hokey name for like a farming town. Like, we're in Cropseyville.
No, you got the vibe. You're
right.
I
guess.
That's you win. Yeah, so Cropseyville. Small town, actually not even a town. A small area.
Village. Centralized location.
It's just a place that you pass through.
Oh, one of those. Yeah.
So
it's all good. There's a lot of those in the country.
There are. But it's actually really beautiful. So
nice. I was going to say, I imagine it's nice and quiet. Probably
very
peaceful.
Quiet. Going home is like going to like some kind of artist retreat or something. It's
really?
The most peaceful place that I can imagine being and playing music and writing. I love going home.
Nice.
That's really nice.
Now, did you realize that when you were growing up, or did it take like going to college and leaving home to realize how peaceful it was?
Well, I always really enjoyed living there, but definitely appreciated it more coming back home.
Yeah, sure. After being away.
Yeah. So. Grew up Troy, actually Cropseyville, right? I'm not gonna lie.
You
not
keep
gonna
lying
lie.
to our
Okay,
listeners.
I'm sorry.
Corry.
I'm so sorry.
So,
I didn't play music. That's another lie. I did play music growing up. I took about, I think, 8 years of piano lessons. I think I was probably the worst student possible, though. I was a pretty bad student. I don't think I learned very much in my piano lessons aside from how to be comfortable around the piano and just feeling comfortable and in general enjoying music. Nothing against my teacher, she's actually amazing, but
what age
I just
did you
wasn't
start
interested.
Playing at?
I think it was 1st grade to 8th grade, so it was a good chunk of my life.
Yeah, that's a good chunk.
I enjoyed it, but I think I was lazy and didn't fully appreciate it because my parents wanted me to do it rather than me really wanting to do it.
Well, when you're in 1st grade, it's hard to have that drive.
Yeah, I wasn't a driven 1st grader. So
for anything, let alone music.
Right. That's for sure.
Something that requires work and practice.
Yeah, I was not about that.
That's all good.
Eventually, after 8th grade, I stopped taking lessons, and then I think around 12th grade, I started kind of playing piano again, and then
The end of high school.
End of high school is really where this begins because
that's an interesting time to begin.
Yeah, well, I was dating someone and we broke up. I think we broke up on Valentine's Day. Terrible, I know. And
is there a song about that?
There should be.
There really should be. That's like
I know.
You can't write that stuff. I mean, you can.
I
should. But you know what I mean. In life, you can't write that stuff.
So, yeah, we broke up, and then I started writing. I wanted to teach myself how to sing, and I had very basic piano skills, and I, for some reason, started playing again. I have a really, really beautiful grand piano, a baby grand piano in my house. So
nice.
That's without that.
What company?
Definitely wouldn't be here. Bluthner, which is a German company.
Yeah, I've never heard of that before.
My great grandmother, maybe even great was a pianist in. Where was she from? I want to say
Germany, maybe.
I think it's German made. I would assume she was English. I really don't know. But
Loveday.
Loveday's
what
English.
Nationality is that? That's English. Okay.
Very English. So, having that in my home. I think
that helped, I'm sure.
I owe everything because I also grew up, like I said, in a small town.
Sure.
I think we had like 4 channels on the TV. I was always finding ways to be
interesting.
I had to entertain myself. My brother and I was going outside. I loved sports and everything outdoors. And then I had a piano, and I'd kind of sit down when I got bored and play a little bit.
Yeah. See, I have a theory that being bored is not so bad. It's not the worst thing in the world.
Being bored is wonderful.
Yeah, it leads to a lot of creative activities.
Absolutely.
We'll say, whether it's music or art or whatever. It's the time you can be most productive in some ways.
Yeah, boredom allows you to be free.
Yeah. Another good song idea right there.
Yeah. Right. So.
Like how did you get introduced to music? I guess. I mean, I know you said you took piano lessons.
Yeah.
Starting in first grade. Did you live in a very musical household? Was there a lot of music being played by your parents?
Yeah.
Or any siblings?
My mom likes a lot of folk.
Okay.
And a little bit of blues. So I grew up hearing that. I don't think I ever actively listened until college, really, actually.
Wow.
And my dad would listen to everything from, I'd wake up in the morning and there'd be African drumming downstairs coming from his very loud speakers and all sorts of classical and jazz, and he was just interested in like he'd call it broadening his horizons and getting all these different inputs. He was just really curious about music, which is so cool because he's such a music fan. He's not a
musician
himself, but he's got an awesome
That's
ear.
awesome though.
Yeah, so
that probably exposed you to a lot of
everything. Yeah. Which has been interesting because I never grew up idolizing any particular musician or wanting to be like anybody. I just listened to all sorts of stuff and kind of appreciated it all.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Not many people can say that, I feel. A lot of people kind of get stuck on a few artists or bands early on in their lives. And not that that's bad or anything, but your story is a lot less common, I feel.
I think so, too. It's also been kind of... It makes me question, everybody... so many of my friends wanted to be like Zeppelin or be like whoever and have like this model, and then you learn that model and you get really good at that. I was kind of...
Oh, I see, yeah.
I never really knew, like, who do I copy? Who do I learn? What songs do I even want to learn? I don't even know, like, what I want to learn. I just enjoy it.
Yeah, that's cool, though.
Which is...
It helps you find your voice, I imagine.
I think so. But I think I've slowly realized that I need to dive into other music in order to really know how to produce mine, because how do you know what you like if you can't play what you like and what you don't like?
That's true. That's true.
That's
funny, though. It definitely sounds like you kind of had a late start in finding all this stuff. Like you said, you didn't really get into... I mean, you were playing piano from an early age, but you didn't really start to... what's the word I'm looking for? Really start to find your passion for it until 12th grade.
For sure.
Like you said, in college, that's when you really started specifically listening to artists and whatnot.
Yeah. And, it's been interesting. I think getting into the conservatory here was huge for me. But I felt like, a lot of my peers were like, oh, yeah, I've been playing violin since I was like 2.
Right.
What?
You're like, what?
Do I belong here? Which was a little intimidating, I think.
Sure, I can imagine.
On the flip side of that, I think it's made me super appreciative that I'm in music classes, because a lot of my peers, not a lot of them, some of my peers would be like, oh, damn, we've got this homework. And I was like, yeah, this is not homework. To me, homework was high school. This is something else.
Awesome.
This is something else.
Yeah, music homework? That's not really homework.
Right. So
for the most part.
Felt really just lucky and grateful, whereas I could imagine playing music for 15 years before you go to college, you might feel a little tired.
Yeah,
or
sure.
A feeling of normalcy. And for me, it was a total
like an
lifestyle change for me.
Right.
And so I really loved it.
You jumped right in.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Awesome. Cool. Let's go back a little bit. Do you remember what your first musical memory was when you were growing up?
Well, I think I have a couple, but the one that really sticks out in my head, there's a Sting song called I Hung My Head. And I remember standing in my kitchen with my mom and my dad and asking my dad if he could play that Sting song. And he had no idea what I was talking about. I remember he played a bunch of them, and eventually it came on, and I was like, yeah, that's the one. And
Nice.
it's do you know the song?
No, I don't.
It's a story song. It's about this guy who goes out. I think it's set somewhere, maybe out west, where there's these plains and large fields and whatnot. And this guy goes out, and he's borrowed his brother's gun, and he's practicing aiming, and he's aiming at this horse rider, this horse and the rider, and he's aiming, and then all of a sudden the gun goes off in his hand, and he shoots the rider. And it's about him accidentally pulling the
killing
trigger.
a man, yeah.
And then he runs, and kind of what happens, and his feelings about, wow, he has a family.
And how old were you when you wanted to hear that song?
I don't really know. I think that was probably like, I could imagine maybe middle school.
Wow, okay.
So
that was one of your first musical memories, though, in middle school.
Yeah.
Do you remember any that are like way back, like when you were really young and like?
Well, my mom would sing to me as a kid.
Oh, really?
She sang a bunch of Paul Simon stuff.
Nice.
That
you
I never
folk before.
Yeah, and I never really knew any of the songs. I think I assumed that she like made up all the songs that she sang to me, and then one day I remember hearing
little kid.
She used to sing America.
They have some great tunes.
There's Simon Garfunkel, and I remember hearing that, and I was like, oh, this is really familiar. And then I was like, hey, Ma.
And, did you write this? No, sorry.
And, James Taylor stuff, too. So
he's great. He's classic. You've
got
a great version of Fire and Rain, too.
Oh, yeah. I was just practicing that.
Nice. Classic tune.
Yeah, seriously. So I guess maybe my mom singing to me as a kid is probably the first... some of the first memories.
Yeah, nice. And now you said you took piano lessons.
Yeah.
I was going to ask how you learned to play music. But you said you taught yourself to sing?
Yeah.
You never took vocal lessons?
I took some lessons when I got here. A handful. But pretty much everything's been self-taught.
Interesting. How has that been? Because you know what it's like to take private lessons and have sort of a schedule with that. You know, you're not completely self-taught like a lot of people are.
I'm not. And having the I can't say I'm self-taught because I'm in a conservatory.
Right, that's true. But just comparatively,
self-taught performance-wise, yes.
You took so many years of piano lessons, you could argue. And, vocals, not to say you don't know what you're doing, but, for lack of a better term, you're sort of self-taught, or like you said, for the performance
totally
aspect.
Feel as if vocals, I am self-taught. Yeah.
And what was that like? Was that scary? Like, did you, singing? I feel like is much more, in some ways, can be a lot scarier than playing piano. Not that performing any instrument is easy, but it's your voice. It's so personal, and a lot of people have such a fear of singing in front of people.
For sure.
Where they'll bang out some notes on the piano and be like, oh, whatever, I'm just doing this for fun. But singing is. That's got to be terrifying when you've already got the background of, well, I know what I'm doing on piano. I've studied that. But vocals, like, how did you bring yourself to have the confidence to be like, I can do this too?
Well, I sounded really bad for a while and didn't sing for anyone for a while. I would come home after school and I would sing. I would practice. I looked up, people practice scales. I'll try that. So I practiced
just on
scales.
YouTube and stuff.
Yeah, I'd print out different lists of like to do and not to do when singing.
Wow.
And looked up all
so
this.
You were dedicated.
Yeah, I spent an enormous amount of time,
Mm-hmm.
after school singing, and then my parents would come home and I'd pretend as if nothing was happening.
So you kept it a secret.
It was very much a secret. I think I was embarrassed. I don't know why.
I mean, that makes sense. Like I said, a lot of people are afraid.
Because I played piano, freely around them, even though I, certainly was no skilled pianist, but I, would sit and play. And that was fine.
You'd done it for long enough.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I would play the same song, like, The Scientist by Coldplay.
Mm-hmm.
I probably sang that, and I would record everything on a camera.
Nice.
And I don't know, I must have played that song hundreds of times, easily. And I would listen back, and that sounds bad. Let's do that again.
At least you were honest with yourself. That's important.
I'm very critical. I'm very critical. I still am. So, yeah, that's just sort of part of my personality, I think. And
did you eventually get to a place with that song or singing in general where you were like, okay, this is getting better, I can see some improvement?
Yeah, and I had friends in high school that were so supportive, and they were always pushing me to sing, and
that's awesome.
And like, for some reason, loved the songs that I did write that last year of high school, and they pushed me to join a choir in school, and somehow I got into that. I don't know how she let me in. I think it was because she felt bad for me or something. But,
out of pity.
Yeah, but I got into that choir.
That's a great experience, though, I can imagine.
Yeah, showed me kind of how to sight read and a little bit, and then just being around people and singing. And I think it was so funny because everyone else had some sort of choir experience, and I remember like my friend Matt turned to me and dude, you don't even know how to sing vowels. I was like, sing what?
Sing what?
So yeah, I just had people around me who, for whatever reason, were like, dude, you should totally do this. You should totally go to school for music.
Wow. And this wasn't something you had thought of like since the beginning of high school or whatnot?
Oh, I think since freshman year, I always wanted to be some kind of singing star.
Oh, really? Okay.
But without any without any practice,
without any training.
Yeah, without any training. I loved that, the persona of a performer. I think it's really cool.
When did you decide, hey, I'm going to go to school for this? Probably junior, senior year, right? I mean, that's when you have to apply to colleges.
Yeah,
usually.
I was applying to colleges, right, about that time, and I was applying because I was interested in biology, and physical therapy, and also botany, and then soccer.
Wow,
so
a little different, not quite music.
Right, science heavy.
Yeah.
Was kind of, I was like looking at schools that had a good soccer program that I want to play for, whatever team they had, and then also science programs, and then I was like, and we'll also see if some of these schools have good music programs.
Wow,
so
you were looking for multiple things.
Yeah, wow. I was actually looking for those things actively, and then I remember being at Ithaca, which is it's also a prestigious school like this, and I remember turning to the tour guide and being like, hey, like, do you guys have auditions for the music students? And him just being like, we have auditions. We're a serious music school. And I was like, oh. I just had no idea. I had no idea.
You're flying blind a little bit.
Totally. So, ended up getting in here. Got a bio scholarship for, which was really helpful. And
did you start out as a biology major?
I did. I started out as bio. And
that's wild.
All my friends are bio. And then the next semester, I was undeclared. I dropped most of the bio classes that I could while keeping the scholarship, and then studied under Dana Mancuso for a semester. I think it was a semester.
Now, you didn't like the biology? Wasn't for you?
I still love, science. Bio, I think, is interesting, but studying
the degree maybe wasn't for you?
Bio is just not exciting to me.
Yeah.
I didn't ever want to study. I didn't ever want to learn that stuff. I mean, it's interesting, and if someone could plant that info in my head without any work, I'd be grateful to have it, I guess. But But I wasn't excited about the classes. So I knew that, and I knew that when I got here that I still wanted to get in the music program.
Right.
So Dana really helped me get there. She prepared me, and I got in.
Nice. That's awesome. Now we talked about piano. We talked about singing. Right around the time you said you started singing, you also started songwriting. Is that right?
Yeah, they were the same thing for me.
Oh, okay.
I was teaching
what was that
myself.
process like, getting yourself not only the confidence to sing, but also, hey, I'm going to write something original and show it to the world?
I was just trying to sing about whatever kind of came out of my mouth. I mean, I would write little songs that made no sense.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. In what way? Just lyrically?
Oh, they'd just be like all the cliches you could put in one song that had never happened to me.
Yeah, I see.
Like just.
Why did you want to write songs though? Was there some reason?
I don't know. I just enjoyed being at a piano and singing stuff that came out of my mouth.
Interesting, but not words that other people wrote. You wanted to say your own words.
I wanted to say my own words, yeah, and I wanted to have my own stories. I don't know if I really knew myself enough to write a story that was about me. Nor did I really know how to sing, and I sounded pretty bad. I mean, it's tough. Yeah, like you said before, like a piano's instrument, you hit the key, sounds great,
right?
No matter who you are,
right?
That key always sounds great.
As long as it's in tune, it'll sound good.
Not the same with voice.
Yeah.
And when you're teaching yourself to sing, you've never sung before, and you sound really bad. It's just a slow process.
But you didn't give up.
No.
And you could have.
I could have.
Right.
I think I was. Well, I'm a pretty stubborn person.
Yeah.
I think that's why. I mean, like, I was applying to schools that had music degrees, and telling my family, I was like, yeah, I think I want to go to school for music, and kind of maybe surprising some of my family members, because maybe they're like, wait,
really?
You play music?
Wow.
And just like jumping off the cliff and be like, yeah, I want to try it.
That's awesome. Took a leap of faith.
Yeah, that's sort of been my story. It's just I kind of like jump for something usually when I'm not prepared. I mean, that's how I started to get ready for gigs. I would book gigs and be, okay, you have to have 2 hours of music. And I'd be like, okay, well, I've never done that before. And then I was like, all right, well, I have a performance. I have to have 2 hours of music ready.
Yeah.
So I'll just, that's the way I would get something done. Or book a recording session. Oh, I've never recorded before. I have no idea how to do this. But it's just in 2 weeks. I have to figure it out. And that's kind of been like how I push myself.
Interesting. You like that challenge?
Yeah, I do.
Nice.
And I do that all the time with, not to get too outside of music, but this year I joined the swim team, and I had never swum before. Didn't know how to swim. I mean, I knew how to basically
not drown,
not die.
Yeah, recommended.
Yeah, but aside from that, didn't know any strokes, and I joined the team, and it was just like a personal goal. I was like, it'd be cool to know how to swim. I played a ton of soccer as a kid, and I didn't really want to join the soccer team here, so I was like, I'll do something else. My best friend was a good swimmer, Andrew. Yep. He's like, yeah, jump in the pool, you'll figure it out. And it was probably the hardest thing I've ever done.
Really?
Just like, once you're in the water and you're swimming, you can't really get out. So it's
right.
Nice,
you're kind of stuck there.
It's a nice metaphor for life.
Yeah. Another song idea?
Yeah, maybe.
That's 3 song ideas. That's one podcast,
yes.
Man. I'm giving all these to you. I want co-writing credit.
I think that's kind of been
like a personal philosophy almost of yours. Just jump first, like figure it out.
I think being prepared is, not that it's, I mean, being prepared is really important.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but I think it's overrated in a lot of ways, in that you could wait around to be ready to do something for a long time.
True.
And I think just doing is the only way you're ever going to get something done.
Right. Even if it's not the right thing.
Right.
At least you'll figure it out. It's not the right thing, and you can move on from there.
For sure.
So I want to move into a little bit more of your influences here.
Cool.
You said growing up, you didn't really have any specific people that you listened to or idolized.
Yeah.
Has that changed now since you've been in college and experienced a lot more and obviously been exposed to a lot more music?
It has a little bit, definitely.
Are there any major people?
I think
on
one of the
bands?
first like writers and songwriters and performers, John Mayer, was just I don't think I really write necessarily like him or particularly musically influenced by him, but I loved listening to him.
Sure.
He was an awesome lyricist, awesome songwriter. amazing guitarist.
Yeah.
Great producer. It's just like all around. Okay, he can do it all.
Yeah.
And I'm really impressed by it. And I'm a huge fan of his.
Nice. I hear a lot of songwriters cite him as a big influence.
Yeah. He's just a great guy to listen to for ideas, and I love that he's able to write about pretty much everything.
That's awesome. When did you get into him? Was that a certain time where you started listening to him?
I passively listened to him, I think, my whole life, as long as you...
Yeah, in the background.
Yeah. I remember, I think when I was a freshman, I went to see some big outdoor concert upstate at this place called SPAC in Saratoga, and he was playing there, and I remember, like, looking back years, like, a couple years ago, I was like, damn, I saw John Mayer, and I think I was probably just drinking and didn't hear it. I don't think I heard a word. I don't think I even knew that he was performing. Yeah, I mean, and so that's where
just
my head was at.
Embedded in your subconscious from an early age.
Like, wait, I had a chance to sit down and listen, and I didn't?
Oh, man.
So, yeah, it's been a journey.
Yeah. Cool. Anyone else that you can think of?
You
said James Taylor was another one.
Sting is another guy that I think that is actually one of John Mayer's biggest influences. Which
Really?
is interesting.
No, I didn't know that.
Because I don't know if they quite sound the same, but
no, they've got unique voices though. You know when it's Sting, and you know when it's John Mayer.
Yeah, and they're both amazing musicians. Yes. That would be the common denominator. Sting again, just great musician, incredible songwriter, great arranger, great performer. He does it all. Yeah, that's sort of, I guess, what I do want to take from them is I'd like to be able to produce.
Yeah, is that like what you would want to be able to do all those things?
Not produce as an engineer, but produce as in arrange and understand what the song's asking for. And I'm a writer and a performer and a vocalist and pianist, and trying to grow all those things so that I could be able to do that myself and have kind of total control over what I need to do.
Nice. Now, you said you like Sting. Were you ever into the Police at all?
I didn't even know about the Police until I think I got to college.
Really?
Wow. Actually, I think until I read a book that he wrote, a memoir.
You're like, oh, he was also in this really famous rock band.
Right. That was kind of, I was like, oh, cool. Let me listen to them a little bit.
You never heard like Every Breath You Take or Roxanne before?
I probably did. Yeah. But
you just didn't know who it was.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just all when I talk about this, it sounds so backwards.
Right. It really does. It's very unique.
Yeah.
But that's not a bad thing either.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of good things I've taken.
Yeah. Everyone can't be the same.
Right. We all have very different tracks.
Right, exactly.
And that's something sort of coming to peace with.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful for that because again, I think that I just get really curious about things all the time that I think they're easy to take for granted, but
Curious Corry.
Yeah.
That could be a stage name, right?
Yeah.
Or something.
Curious George.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
Now, we just talked about your influences and people you like. You said you have very big ears, metaphorically, of course, and you were open to a lot of stuff. What about people that you don't like? Are there any people that you can't listen to? Least favorite artists or bands?
No.
Really?
No. I think I can listen to pretty much everything and find something I like out of it. I also have the philosophy that there are a lot of people who I think believe that music can be better than another kind of music. Whether it's you're a jazz player and you think that pop is garbage, or you're a classical player and you think that anything
pop is garbage.
Past like
everyone
the 1800s
beats up on
is
pop.
Garbage, right?
Yeah.
That whole attitude, I just don't believe. I don't have any reason to because I didn't grow up with that mindset. But also, that's a kind of a narrow way to think about it. I think that if music serves its purpose, it's great. And let's say, I don't know, you've got a kid who's listening to Twinkle Twinkle, and that's great, and he's loving it. Are you going to put on the Beatles for him? No. Like, why would you do that? He wants to listen to Twinkle Twinkle. Right. So Twinkle Twinkle, therefore, is better than the Beatles in that situation. For him, it's always subjective. And for pop music, a lot of people bash pop music these days, and I totally understand if you're putting it in your criteria in your boxes of, doesn't have these lyrics, doesn't have these changes, and the rhythm's not doing this, then okay, it's not good. But I don't know, for people who just want to dance, or for the producers out there, like that's where it's at. And pop music, like production.
Just want to have fun.
Yeah, production's incredible. Like what they're able to do with sounds and sampling, and we are creating sounds. We're at a point where, we were doing that with the Beatles too, but
technology's made it more possible now.
The digital world has, and the technology will always change music.
Yeah, absolutely.
And guide it. And so if you're able to think about music outside of your own like artist voice and like your own criteria of what makes a good song for you, then I think you're able to find that all music has great qualities and it's great for somebody. It doesn't have to be great for you. It can still be great.
Right. So it sounds like you're saying context is everything.
Context is everything. Yeah. I mean, I don't listen to a lot of music, but if someone like throws on some heavy metal, like I'll be open enough to notice, damn, that kick drum, like listen to what the guys do. Like, even though I can't hear a story and I can't hear the lyrics and I don't hear an awesome voice and I don't hear harmonic changes that I want in my music,
right?
I'm still gonna try to be like, oh, wow, he just did that, or she just did this. I'm impressed. Yeah.
You're definitely one of the most open-minded musicians I've ever talked to.
Well, I think I came into music without any right
prejudice
to think otherwise, and hopefully that'll stay.
Continue on throughout your career. Hopefully.
Yeah, I think that's really important too, because it allows you to say yes to a lot of projects and people.
Right, it's true. You don't want to close yourself off to any opportunities that might come, in the future or whatnot.
Totally.
Cool. So I want to talk a little bit about your most recent release. You have an EP out, correct?
Yeah, not out yet, but...
no, I'm not talking about that one. The one that came before, Dreamtalking.
Yeah.
EP. So I don't know how many years old that is now, but...
It's 2.
2 years old? 2. Okay. That's your most recent, as of the recording of this podcast, in May of 2017. 4-song EP, right? Can you tell us a little bit about that? What was that like to record that album? And maybe we can dive into the songs a little bit too.
Cool. So that was the first recording process I'd ever done.
Okay. First time in a recording studio? Nice.
Yeah, first everything. So it took a year. It was a long process of figuring out how to arrange stuff, how to delegate, get all these different people in a room, scheduling, rehearsals. How do I figure out what I want to write? And then I also wrote out a lot of stuff, like that
like arrangements and stuff.
Yeah, it was like I'm gonna write everything and the players are kind of gonna play it. Less than now, my attitude is pretty different. But yeah, that was an awesome experience. Mike Turnwall produced it. He's incredible.
What did you play on the album?
What did I play? I played
keys and vocals.
Yep, all the keys, all the vocals. Actually, no, not all the vocals. There were some harmony parts there too.
Nice. What was it like working with quote unquote session musicians, other people, instead of recording the project all yourself?
It was cool. It was fun. Learned that probably the most important thing about doing any kind of project like that is just communication.
Right. I imagine the scheduling, like we said before.
But also, if you're always going to disagree with people, and like, how do you deal with someone that is maybe gets angry easily, or
interesting different personalities.
Different personalities. Just how to kind of judge the situation, figure out what someone needs, and if you can provide it, then good. And if you can't, how do you tell them you can't?
Right. And
that kind of person to person interaction. Yeah, that was huge for me. Really, really helped me learn how to be around people and get them to do something that you want while making them feel good. So, the first thing is like, hey, write out great charts so that they get in the studio and the music is never the problem.
Right.
You want to have, if there's any problems, shouldn't be about the music. It should be about other things. Right. So that was really important. And I had the bass player I was working with. It's like, yeah, dude, this was the best session I've ever had because you write out great charts, and that stuck with me. And I was like, okay, that's gonna be something I keep doing.
Yeah, keep that for the future.
Yeah.
Sure. Did anyone influence the arrangements or the songwriting themselves? Like when you had the songs, I imagine you brought all the songs in pretty much finished to the session?
Yeah. I think I wrote one of them kind of while recording in the studio. Yeah, I think
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it's a song called "The Harvest" where I changed like almost all the lyrics. Actually.
Wow.
While we'd done all the instrumental tracks, and then I was like, oh man, this is just not good enough. I wanna make it better.
Wow.
And so I rewrote a lot of it.
That's so interesting. So it's like, all right,
Yeah.
got to change this last minute.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, "The Harvest" is about fracking. It's sort of my anti-fracking
I was gonna
song.
ask. All your songs on this album, all the times I've listened to it, none of the lyrics really jump out at me as being anything super obvious.
Yeah.
All of them are kind of like, they sound nice, and there's no lines that stick out that are bad, but there's nothing that really sticks out that's very like, oh, this is clearly a protest song or a political song or a love song.
Yeah. That has since changed, I think, enormously in my writing. Because those were the first songs I wrote that I was like happy with, which is amazing. But so I ended up wanting. I watched a documentary, Gaslands, which is about fracking, and
interesting.
And then that made me kind of rethink the song and rewrite a lot of the lyrics.
Was it originally about fracking?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
It was, but then writing the song, I mean, I learned more and thought about it differently, and I wanted to also send it out to different political groups, and I think I even sent it to the director of that film. And
wow.
Just sent it. I wanted it to be presentable to someone that knew about stuff.
Did they ever get back to you?
I probably sent it to like 50 people, and maybe like 2 people got back to me.
Wow.
But
that's another lesson in music, though.
Yeah,
seriously.
Seriously.
Booking gigs.
The game of numbers.
Yeah, absolutely.
We the people are blind. Trade our temple for a dime. We the people are blind. Trade our temple for a dime.
Awesome. Now, Dreamtalking is the title track. What is Dreamtalking?
Yeah, it was the idea of, trying to get into music. It's just kind of this strange thing that started to happen to me. I was like, this is really interesting. I really want to do it. Don't know why. Let's try it. That's what Dreamtalking is. And
like a dream that you have?
a dream that you have that you're trying to put into words. Dreamtalking.
Ah, I see.
Yeah. I had a counselor in high school who went to her about classes, and I think she helped me decide like college, that kind of stuff. And I remember telling her, I think I'm actually interested in music too, and want to do something with that. And she was like, there's not that many jobs in music. Science is going to be, you'll get out of college, you'll get a job right away, that kind of thing. And I remember being like, fuck you. And
not so helpful of a guidance counselor.
But that kind of reflects the environment, the kind of high school I was in.
Really?
Cutting all the arts programs and stuff like that.
Unfortunately, a very common tale.
So sad.
Yeah.
Such a waste too.
Yeah, absolutely.
What a way to wash away someone's potential.
Yeah. But that didn't deter you, obviously.
No, it didn't. Well, there weren't any opportunities really for me there anyway to ruin. But
I just meant like deter you from going into music.
Right.
You
definitely
did
not.
Look like you were going into science for a little bit. But
yeah. But then I got here, and I mean, even before I got here, I knew I didn't want to do it, but confirmed everything, I think. And So Dreamtalking is about trying to figure out if this is what I want to do.
Why do they seem surprised when they hear that I found myself in song? Don't we all hope that our dreams come true? Don't we all wish they do?
Cool. Why did you feel like it was the title track, or why did you want to make it the title track?
Probably because that was the song I felt most strongly about, in that it was the most personal and sort of encompassed everything that I was feeling at the time about music, getting into it and not knowing, but also knowing.
Right. You didn't know why, you said, but
right.
you knew you wanted to do it. Interesting.
Yeah.
And now we have another track on the EP, The House.
Right.
Is it about your house that you grew up in as a kid?
No, it's not. It's the house is a metaphor. It's talking about kind of. The chorus is if that house burned down.
Right.
And the metaphor of life as the house and.
I see.
Sort of, if you lose all the material things, what do you have left? And you have relationships and memories and the people around you. And so I guess it's sort of a song also about materialism as well.
I guess I totally forgot the first line is life is just one big house, right?
Yeah. With
right.
people coming in and out.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So the house is about just kind of a big life song. Then the harvest is about fracking, and then Dreamtalking is about my interest in music and questioning
your dreams and hopes.
Yeah, and then Kidnapping June was about was a duet that I did with my girlfriend at the time, and was something I don't know. I worked on that a long time. She kind of helped me, guide me through it. It was,
kind of thing.
Yeah, something like that. That was just kind of a sweet duet.
Now, what's that one about? Because that one kind of sounds like you're eloping or escaping.
Yeah,
or just
I think
leaving.
it was kind of about like, I mean, not that I ever disliked her parents. I just don't know how sure they were about her going into certain fields that she wanted to, and kind of being like, hey, let's get out of here.
Music too?
No, I think her parents were supportive of music. I don't know if, yeah, they were. But I don't even really remember exactly their stance, but I remember at times just being frustrated and just wishing that they would see that, just let her do what she wants.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Now, why Kidnapping June? Are you kidnapping the month?
Yeah, I think I wrote that and finished it in June, and just want to capture that month. It's such a strange title.
It is a strange title. It really sticks out, I mean, all your titles are nice, and they all have interesting kind of surface level meanings and obviously deeper meanings. That one is just throws me for a loop.
Yeah.
Kidnapping June. All right.
Yeah.
And then kidnapping meaning just
taking away. Yeah.
Nice.
Let's get. And I was also graduating, so I was probably speaking from my own wants as well. I wanted to get out.
Yeah, sure.
Your beauty and that stare, well, nothing else compares. You're quite enough for me. Those red rose petal lips, we waltz to warm trumpets. You're quite enough for me. Yeah. Pack your bags, leaving soon. I am now kidnapping you.
Now you have some really gorgeous piano riffs on here, on
Thanks.
the EP. Particularly, I really like the intro to The House.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
How do you come up with those? Is that the first part of the songwriting process for you, or do you start with lyrics, or do you start with both? How does that work? Does it depend on the song?
It depends, but usually the words and the music come together.
Really?
Pretty much at the same time. And like I said at the beginning about kind of nonsense songs, a lot of times I'll just, whatever comes out of my mouth is what comes out of my mouth, and then that gets changed later.
Okay. Just the initial idea.
I could imagine myself sitting down. I don't know if this is really how it happened, but I could imagine myself sitting down and singing something similar to the melody that I had with the words "Life is just a big strange house," with people coming in and out. I could totally. That's probably how it happened. I probably sat down and I don't know if I played the riff exactly that way, but maybe just had the chords.
Sure.
And then thinking, okay, I want something moving, and I want the melody to sit here, and then adjusting
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you get the inspiration initially for stuff like that?
I don't think I ever sit down. I don't ever sit down with an idea. I
Mhm.
just kind of play, and then I realize that there is an idea.
Okay, is it just from like noodling around, messing around, playing other songs?
Well, at that point, I don't think I'd probably ever even played a cover before.
Oh, wow.
Maybe The Scientist.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it.
500 times.
Yeah. So wasn't getting ideas from other songs, was just kind of playing whatever I thought. I mean, a lot of times I would have songs that had like Kidnapping June. After I had to chart it out, but I charted it out when I was here.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote it before then. I realized that it's in 4 and then 3/4 and then 5/4, and then there's adds. There's 2 4s all over the place, and just realizing that, like, I wasn't pulling from anything. I was just kind of playing whatever I felt.
Right.
And so that's kind of how I think my songwriting was back then.
That's really cool, though.
Yeah, I mean, it was very individual.
Right.
Definitely very much myself.
Yeah.
A lot of that has changed, but I think the same attitude that I have is the same.
Now, when you sat down at the piano, did you ever, maybe have an idea in your head? You'd be like, I'm going to sit down for an hour and I'm going to try to write a song? Or do things just kind of happen when you're sitting down? The inspiration strikes?
Both.
Okay.
Definitely both. I would definitely, force myself to sit down for a couple hours or be like, okay, I'm not going to eat dinner until I write a good verse or something like that.
Right, because you said you are stubborn sometimes, so I can see you forcing yourself to sit down and be like, I'm going to write something right now.
Yeah. I think that works sometimes. There's a cool quote on Ted Pilsucker's wall, that says something along the lines of inspiration is a myth or inspiration
Right.
is...
It's for amateurs or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's that. Inspiration is for amateurs, and just the idea that, if you wait around for some magical idea to strike you in the head, you're going to wait around for a long time, and that's not really what artists do.
Right.
Is that
it's like showing up to work is what I've heard a lot of people say.
Totally.
Treat it like a job.
And you sit down and you put in the time, and something might not come, but you'll realize what you didn't want to do.
Right. You can learn something new from every experience,
totally.
even if you didn't complete anything or write a song or whatnot.
Yeah. I mean, songs, I personally don't think they magically come. I mean, sometimes you sit down and the song's done in 3 days.
Right.
But
I think it's just
not.
the more romantic idea that everyone wants to have. Like, these genius songwriters back in the day, that the muse would just influence them. And then, but there's a lot of hard work that goes into songwriting.
Enormous amount of dedication that
people don't
goes
realize
into
that.
No,
they don't want to realize that, maybe.
I remember first getting compliments like, hey, you were born with it, or you were.
Right.
Everybody, all artists get that. Oh, you were born with this gift. You're so talented. It's in your blood.
Right.
And I think probably being too sensitive, but I almost took that like a backhanded compliment. I was like I wasn't born with this. I
worked for this. Give me the credit. Man.
Yeah, spending so much work trying to figure out how to express yourself.
Right.
And it's not given. I mean, some people are more open to being able to be artistic and that they have an open mind and they want to be creative. Sure, maybe that's something you're born with. But if anything, it's something that your parents teach you, that you think is cool, that you enjoy. It's more, I think, a nurture rather than a nature thing.
Interesting.
And that if you're born with it, if you're born with anything, you're born with the interest, not born with the skill set.
No, of course.
No one's born with the skill set. No one's born with the skill set. You're born with the drive.
Right.
And I think it's an easy way out to say that someone is born with it. It's I think that's a way for people to distance themselves from you and say that, I'm not capable of that because I'm not born with it. But if you sat down and you practiced for a few hours every day, you wouldn't say that you were born with it.
Right.
You would say that you worked really hard for it.
Right. It's almost they're using it as an excuse.
Totally. I mean, that's we do that all the time. Like, oh man, like I suck at math.
Sure.
I say that all the time. I suck at math, man. Like, I'm just not good at it. No, it's not that I'm not good at it. I don't like it, so I don't try it.
Right.
That's all. And I'm never gonna get good at it unless I try it. And I don't really have the interest in getting better at it, so I'll probably never get better at it. But I'm okay with that because that's not important to me.
But realizing that you can get better at it if you wanted to.
I think that's really important. Understanding you can get better and you can be great at so many things in life. That it is not, you're not born into that skill set, that it is learned.
Right.
And sure, if you're born into a musical family or...
environment definitely has an impact
totally.
on it, I would argue.
But But also, you could be a self-taught musician and be way better than someone, or appreciate music more than someone that was born into that.
Right.
So it's
takes all kinds.
Yeah, totally.
Cool. And now let's talk a little bit about your upcoming EP. Is it an album EP?
It's I guess it's an EP, but it's got 7 tunes on it.
Okay. Do you know how long
so-
it is? Running time?
I don't actually. I would say it's gonna be an EP though. I think
Yeah.
it's yeah.
Nice.
What's like the official length? Do you know official length for an album? Is it 43 minutes or 42?
I would say 35 minutes.
35?
Honestly. Yeah, that's my kind of go-to, 30 to 35. But I don't know, maybe 40.
Yeah.
I feel like most artists try to shoot for the 40-minute mark, either a little over or a little under.
Yeah. It's definitely it's going to be an EP though.
Yeah.
Maybe just a longer EP.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, man, I am so excited about it.
So what is the new EP called?
It is called Wandering Man.
Wandering Man.
And
why that title?
yeah, that's a whole nother thing. So past 2 years of my life, I've been traveling. My first trip, I don't know why, but I've always wanted to travel. But I decided I really want to go to New Zealand, and I learned that I had family there.
Oh,
and
wow.
I spent a month backpacking, hitchhiking, sleeping on strangers' couches, camping. I was a bum. I was really just a bum for a month.
Yeah.
And had the most incredible experience there. And then I got an opportunity through school to go to Japan.
Oh, wow.
And so I did that last summer. And then most recently I was doing a similar thing in Vietnam where I was traveling. And I went up and down the coast. And so traveling's been huge for me.
Right.
And I've learned
a lot of different places
so
in
much.
a pretty short amount of time, really.
Yeah, and while at those, while in those countries, also exploring other countries around, but those are the main places. So Wandering Man, the album, is sort of about that love of traveling and also the metaphor of wandering through who I am. And I'm still discovering music. I'm still realizing that this is what I'm doing. This is what I really want to do. And like we've talked about, the beginning of my life was just not like that. I mean, who I am today, if someone saw me that was like my best friend in middle school, I think they'd
Think you were a different person, maybe?
they would think I'm a different person.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow.
No doubt. So
That's good, though. That means you've been growing and changing, as most people should. Which
Yeah.
is, a lot of people don't. And they kind of stagnate after high school or whatever, a certain amount of time. They just kind of, they coast through life. And you don't seem like a coaster.
I hope not. Yeah. It's about wandering through relationships, wandering through different versions of yourself, and then physically through travel and through the incredible things that I've had the opportunity to see and the people I've met and
Right.
I mean,
The
travel.
memories you've made.
Yeah, and so that's sort of what I was trying to capture, and there's a lot of relationship songs in there too. I've been through some of those in the past years.
Anything about traveling and relationships, like long distance stuff?
There's a tune called Humble Park, which is about someone who I met for a really short time over the summer and was totally infatuated with her, and she we met really randomly and had a few really fun days together, and then she went back to Chicago.
Oh, wow.
And I haven't seen her since.
Wow.
Yeah. So that, I mean, we just, I had a blast with her, and it was a real easy song to come out.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Are all the songs about travel or distance in some way?
So let's see. Humble Park is the name of a borough in Chicago. So there's that. Meet With You is another song. That one is about relationships. That's not about travel. A New Goodbye is another song. That one I wrote my last day in New Zealand. I was on a beach.
I was actually going to ask. That was my next question. Was like, did your travels influence your songwriting, inspire any songs?
Yeah.
Can imagine if you're naming the album Wandering Man. Then
Yeah.
must have been
absolutely.
a lot of creative fuel for the fire, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. The last day I started writing a song called A New Goodbye, and it was about going away and really wanting that space from a my ex-girlfriend,
Mm-hmm.
and then the last day, being like, wow, I really miss you.
Really?
And
Wow.
yeah, also, I mean, traveling, my traveling, I don't think none of them have been vacations. They've been adventures, and there've been a lot of, you can be really lonely and be in a beautiful place. You can be experiencing incredible things and be alone and
It sounds
learn.
like you have. It sounds
Yeah.
like you've had a lot of really unique experiences.
I learned that experiencing things is amazing, and being with people is amazing, and they're both really important. But you need both of them, and you need a balance between really cool, fun, amazing, exciting things that you do, and then having people that balance that out that you can spend time with. But I don't think you can just spend time with the same people your whole
All the
life and
time.
expect not to have some adventures. And I don't think you can just have adventures and not have the people. You need both. And that's been a huge, huge thing I've learned.
Mm-hmm.
You need both. So A New Goodbye, right? That one's about travel. City Lights is another song that's on the album.
Mm-hmm.
That one's kind of a story song that is
Well, all your
fictional.
songs seem like they're stories. I don't
Yeah.
think you write anything that's not a story.
Yeah, that's
which is
true.
awesome. That's what makes it so interesting to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
You want to hear the story.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, ever since I heard that Sting song, which is a story song, I'm so drawn to that stuff.
Right.
I'm so drawn to just, listening to the story play out, and for the first time you hear it, I'm so captured,
Captivated,
and then the other times I'm just anticipating that one line that's gonna hit me.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's something, at least in the mainstream music, whether it's pop or, country, rock, whatever. Story songs definitely don't seem to be as big as they used to. I mean, I always hear the 70s specifically were the era of the singer-songwriter.
Yeah.
You've got people like James Taylor or
Joni
Simon
Mitchell.
and Garfunkel's Joni Mitchell.
Yeah.
And that's awesome that you're kind of, I don't know if you're trying to bring it back, but it's awesome that you're doing it. Because I certainly don't hear it as much as I would like to. When I want to hear that kind of stuff, I always end up putting on something that's a little bit older.
Yeah, man, it's so true.
No.
So true. But yeah, overall, a lot of the stuff is about traveling, and if it's not about traveling, it's about some sort of relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And then I do have the title track, Wandering Man,
Okay.
which is about...
all your adventures?
It's sort of about accepting myself as more than a musician, or more than a traveler, that I'm both, and that's okay. So when I went to New Zealand, my goal, I brought my keyboard and all my gear, paid too much money to get that on a plane.
Yeah, I was going to say, whew.
And got
Traveling
there.
expenses.
Yeah. And I thought I was going to do, not a tour, but I thought I was going to gig and busk and all that stuff. And so excited. I had a set list, and I was ready to play.
Mm-hmm.
Then I got there, and I was looking around, and I was like, damn, I'm not going to play music. There's no way. I'm going to go outside and explore, and I can't bring my keyboard around because I'm going to worry it's going to be stolen or it's going to this. And I left it at my family's, some family member's house there, and just went off. And I sent, every traveling experience I've had since then, I've kind of struggled with, damn, like I'm not playing music. Does that mean I'm not a real musician?
I see.
I'm enjoying this so much, and I'm not playing music, and I'm barely thinking about music. Does that mean that I'm not meant to do this, or that I'm not dedicated enough to my art? That kind of thing.
Those are tough questions.
Those are really tough questions to realistically answer, and I'm still I think about them a lot.
Sure.
Because I'm happy doing a lot of things.
Right.
But I think I've come to accept that
this is okay.
This is okay, and in fact this is great, and this makes me who I am as an artist. It colors my experience and my voice. And if I didn't do all of these things that I love to do, I wouldn't have the stories. I wouldn't be happy. I have to do the other things.
Right.
And being happy and being a good writer, well, I think there's a lot of sad writers out there. But I think,
of course.
I think for me, it's an important connection. Being happy and just being artistic and looking at my life. Just not just my songs. Being every day I can wake up, do whatever I want. I want to do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Make sure I've got great relationships. Make sure I'm experiencing cool things. I'm traveling. I'm seeing family. I'm doing things different. I'm trying things, and hopefully all that is translated in my music, and that I stay willing to try things and do fun stuff.
Keep exploring, keep going on adventures.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, well, that sounds like a really exciting album. I can't wait for that to come out.
I'm so excited about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we have an anticipated release date at all yet?
I'm hesitant to give an exact date. Yeah. But sometime in the late summer or early fall.
Okay, so sometime this year.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Definitely.
So how are the recording sessions going? Are you guys finishing up? Are you in the middle of it?
We're sort of in the middle. We have drums, bass, piano all tracked. We have some lead vocals on a couple tunes tracked.
Nice.
I'll get in the studio before I graduate here, and then I'll be back down here with my producer Nate DeBrine back in the summer to do more vocals. So we don't have that much to do. We've laid out the groundwork, and it'll just be finding the time and getting it done. Yeah, but I could not be more excited. I mean, I already love how it sounds, and I'm so happy with it.
Did you do anything different this time in the recording studio than you did with the Dreamtalking EP?
Oh yeah. So what I was saying about Dreamtalking was like I was writing out parts, and I was I think I was taking over too much, and this is like I'm guiding the musicians more, whereas like I realized that, man, you're a killing bass player. You know more than I do about bass. Let me tell you the structure, the general idea. You'll get your chart of what you need to do, and then we're going to work together. Like, what's cool? What do you think is best here? Where should you be playing?
So collaborate in writing out the parts instead of you giving it to everyone.
It's so important, because when you tell someone what to do, you're not giving them part of the project. But when you say, let's work together, they are so much more interested and proud of what they're playing. They want to. That album is now part of them. It's not. They didn't just come in and play something, bang it out, and leave. They are part of the process. That's the whole thing, getting together with people and sharing your ideas, especially when they're I'm lucky I've been able to work with like awesome players. Yeah, just having fun and making sure that, like I said before, the music is taken care of. The music is there. They know what they're going to do. Everybody's rehearsed, and we get in the studio and we have an awesome time. We just have fun.
That's great.
Just because if you're all laughing and having a great time and playing well, and they get to come out of that with a really positive memory, there's nothing better.
That's great for you in the future too, because then it's like, hey, Corry Loveday, he was a great guy to work with.
For sure, yeah.
That's awesome. Well, let's wrap things up here. 2 last questions for you. What would define success in music specifically for you, for now and for the future?
Well, short term, my buddy Mason and I are moving upstate to Saratoga, and we'll be playing as a duo, lots of covers and lots of our own stuff. So short-term success would be getting together an awesome set of really good songs, and feeling like at the end of the summer I've learned a lot more about my instrument, about piano and voice, and how to sing these different genres, and not just feel like I've done it and learned something, but feel like I've really dug into this stuff, this material, these old tunes, and mastered them, hopefully. So feeling like at the end of the summer, really coming away with a lot of hours of playing and experience on stage and experience just digging in every day.
Nice.
So practice. Cool. That's my goal of success, feeling satisfied with myself that I practiced hard. And had fun. Right. So that's my short term. My long term, how do I define long term success as a musician? Well, that one's trickier to say, because
like, where would you see yourself in 5 years?
Right. Well, I think we'd all be lying if we didn't say famous.
Right.
So of course, but more importantly, making money from music and being able to support myself. And I am scoring an independent film out of New York right now.
Oh, really?
Which is super exciting.
That's awesome.
Some awesome cast and cool story and good people. So saying that because I know that you need to wear many hats.
Right.
And I'd like to continue to do film scoring. I'd like to continue working with dancers and filmmakers and other musicians, and I'm happier that I don't think I'd be as happy just doing my music, but being involved in all sorts of projects. So I think that's where my success will lie is being diverse and being able to work in all different mediums. And so I would feel successful. I mean, you have to be happy wherever you are.
Right.
But
life is what you make it,
which
to
is
a certain
hard
extent.
it's hard because success is like, it always seems like something that's you don't have.
Right.
But I feel successful right now in that I'm graduating college with a degree that I never thought I could have had, and writing music that I'm really proud of, and playing with great musicians. So right now I'm successful in who I am, but
that's awesome, because I don't hear that many people say that.
yeah.
So
I mean, I'm not successful in that I'm playing music on the radio and I have shows booked, but I
being happy where you are now is something I don't hear that often.
Yeah.
It's refreshing, honestly, to hear that.
Good. Yeah. I mean, I don't always feel that way. You always feel like,
of course,
because you always have to want more, because that's how you work.
Right. Otherwise, like I said, you kind of stay the same. You coast.
Right. But yeah. I mean, you gotta have some self-love, and you gotta be your own best friend. So, yeah, that's how I feel right now. But like I said, in the future, being able to make money off of being a creative person.
Nice. And
while also being happy in my relationships and life in general. I mean, I see a lot of musicians where, like, especially like super successful musicians, you know, whether it's John Mayer or anybody else, it's just like maybe not like the best person, and their personal life is in shambles, and the only thing they can do is get on stage and play for other people's happiness.
Right.
That is not what I want. I want to be happy in myself, for myself, also for other people.
Right.
But be the best musician and artist I can, while also having a life outside of that.
Right.
So that is success for me.
Yeah, like you said, a healthy balance.
Totally.
Too.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, Corey.
Hey,
really
man.
Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me. This is awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. And real quick, if anyone wants to check out your music that's already been released, like Dreamtalking or any other singles you have, where can we find you on the internet?
Yeah, well, you can go to Bandcamp. And Corry Loveday is my name, if you forgot. But actually, the best place to go is my website, CorryLovedayMusic.com, because I've got more than just music on there. I have a blog, a weekly blog that I write that talks about all my travel stuff, music stuff.
Awesome. That's great.
Videos, whatever's happening in my life, and along with music, where to go for that, and
is Dreamtalking the only thing we have out right now? Are there any singles? Or
that's the only thing right now, but there'll be a single coming with the EP.
Nice.
And
that's something to look forward to.
Yeah, the website is officially done, and I'm really happy with that. So, CorryLovedayMusic.com.
That's awesome, especially in today's climate where social media stuff is changing every few weeks. It's nice to have some kind of stable ground.
Yeah, that's
the website.
That's my place.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice. Awesome. Can we expect any solo melodica albums in the future?
We'll see. We'll see. I'm open to everything.
Yeah. Nice. I know you were always exploring. Curious Corey.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks so much, man. I really appreciate you being on the show.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. And my name is Jared Rocco, and this has been Journey of the Sound. Thanks for listening.